Have you ever felt the sting of betrayal or the burning desire for justice? Have you seen how unchecked ambition can tear apart even the closest of families? The story of Absalom, the son of King David, explores these intense emotions in a narrative that is as gripping as it is tragic. Absalom's life serves as a stark reminder of how personal vendettas can unravel the fabric of familial bonds and how unchecked ambition can lead to one's downfall. Let us delve into this dramatic saga and uncover the lessons that lie within the rise and fall of Absalom, who is considered to be the most handsome man to ever exist. Amnon and Tamar. 2 Samuel chapter 14, 25 reads, "But in all Israel there was none to be so much praised as Absalom for his beauty. From the sole of his foot even to the crown of his head, there was no blemish in him." The story of Absalom begins with a tragic incident involving his sister Tamar. She was a beautiful and virtuous young woman, the daughter of King David by his wife Maacah. She was admired by many, including her half-brother Amnon, David's eldest son. Amnon's infatuation with Tamar grew into an unhealthy obsession, leading him to devise a sinister plan. Pretending to be ill, Amnon requested that Tamar bring him food in his private chambers. When Tamar complied, he overpowered and violated her despite her pleas. 2 Samuel chapter 13, 1 through 14. This heinous act left Tamar desolate and dishonored. She tore her robe and put ashes on her head, weeping loudly as she left Amnon's house. Absalom, her full brother, found her in distress and took her into his home, offering her protection and support. He quickly understood the gravity of the situation and was filled with a burning desire for revenge. 2 Samuel chapter 13, 19 through 20. Absalom's vengeance. King David was furious when he heard about Tamar being violated, but he did not take any action against Amnon, possibly because Amnon was his firstborn and heir. Absalom, however, could not let the crime go unpunished. He bided his time, nurturing his anger, and waiting for the right moment to exact his revenge. 2 years later, Absalom organized a grand sheep-shearing event at Baal Hazor and invited all the king's sons to join him. Amidst the festivities, Absalom ordered his servants to kill Amnon once he was in high spirits from drinking wine. The plan succeeded, and Amnon was slain. 2 Samuel chapter 13, 23 through 29. Exile in Geshur. After the murder of Amnon, Absalom fled to Geshur, where his maternal grandfather Talmai was king. He remained there for 3 years, during which time David longed to see him, but did not act on his desire. The grief and turmoil within the royal family were profound, with David mourning both the loss of Amnon and the estrangement of Absalom. 2 Samuel chapter 13, 37 through 39. Joab's intervention. Joab, the commander of David's army, recognized the need for reconciliation between David and Absalom. He enlisted the help of a wise woman from Tekoa to present a parable to David. Disguised as a mourning widow, she told the king a story of her 2 sons, one of whom had killed the other, and pleaded for the surviving son's life. David, moved by her plea, declared that her son should be spared. The woman then revealed that her story was a reflection of David's own situation with Absalom, prompting the king to reconsider his stance. 2 Samuel chapter 14, 1 through 20. Reconciliation. David agreed to allow Absalom to return to Jerusalem, but stipulated that he was not to see the king's face. Absalom returned and lived in his own house for 2 years, without being summoned by David. Frustrated by this partial reconciliation, Absalom set Joab's field on fire to gain his attention, forcing Joab to intervene once more. Finally, David agreed to see Absalom, and the two reconciled with a formal meeting in which Absalom bowed before the king and David kissed him. 2 Samuel chapter 14, 28 through 33. Absalom's rebellion. Despite the reconciliation, Absalom harbored ambitions of his own. He began to position himself as a man of the people. Absalom would rise early and stand by the city gate, where he intercepted those who came to seek justice from the king. He would listen to their grievances, express sympathy, and suggest that he could provide better justice if he were in charge. By doing so, he gradually won the hearts of the people of Israel. 2 Samuel 15, 1-6. Declaration of kingship. After 4 years of building support, Absalom made his move. He asked David for permission to go to Hebron under the pretense of fulfilling a vow. Once there, he declared himself king and amassed a large following. Absalom's rebellion was swift and decisive, catching David off guard. 2 Samuel chapter 15, 7 through 10. David's flight from Jerusalem. David, realizing the danger, decided to flee Jerusalem to avoid a bloody conflict within the city. He left with his household and loyal followers, including the Cherethites, Pelethites, and 600 Gittites who had followed him from Gath. As David departed, he experienced various encounters that highlighted both loyalty and betrayal. Zadok and Abiathar, the priests, brought the Ark of the Covenant, but David sent them back to Jerusalem, trusting in God's will. 2 Samuel chapter 15, 13 through 29. Among those loyal to David was Ittai the Gittite, who insisted on staying with the king despite his recent arrival in Jerusalem. David also sent Hushai the Archite back to Jerusalem to act as a spy and counter Ahithophel's counsel. 2 Samuel chapter 15, 19 through 37. Shimei's curse. As David fled, he encountered Shimei, a member of Saul's clan, who cursed and threw stones at him. Despite his men's offers to kill Shimei, David restrained them, seeing the cursing as part of God's will. David's humility and faith in God's justice were evident even in this moment of despair. 2 Samuel chapter 16, 5 through 14. Absalom entered Jerusalem and sought advice from Ahithophel, who had defected from David's side. Ahithophel advised Absalom to sleep with David's concubines, left behind to care for the palace. This act, intended to demonstrate Absalom's claim to the throne, was done publicly, fulfilling Nathan's prophecy about David's house. 2 Samuel chapter 12, 11 through 12, and chapter 16, 15 through 23. The Battle of Ephraim and Absalom's death. The decisive battle between David's and Absalom's forces occurred in the forest of Ephraim. David's army, led by Joab, Abishai, and Ittai, defeated Absalom's troops. The forest proved treacherous, causing more casualties than the sword. 2 Samuel chapter 18, 6 through 8. During the battle, Absalom's mule passed under a large oak tree and his head got caught in the branches, leaving him hanging helplessly. A soldier reported this to Joab, who, despite David's orders to spare Absalom, killed him, thrusting 3 javelins into his heart. Joab's men then buried Absalom in a pit and covered it with stones. 2 Samuel chapter 18, 9 through 17. David's grief. When news of Absalom's death reached David, his grief was overwhelming. He retreated to his chamber, crying out, "Oh, my son Absalom, my son Absalom, if only I had died instead of you. Oh, Absalom, my son, my son." 2 Samuel chapter 18, 33. Joab rebuked David for demoralizing his troops with his excessive mourning, pointing out that they had risked their lives for him and his kingdom. David then composed himself and appeared before the people to restore their confidence. 2 Samuel chapter 19, 1 through 8. Restoration of the kingdom. David returned to Jerusalem to reclaim his throne, but the kingdom was deeply fractured. The rebellion had exposed and deepened divisions within Israel, and David's rule was never the same. However, he continued to govern with wisdom and faith, navigating the challenges that followed Absalom's rebellion. 2 Samuel chapter 19, 9 through 15. The story of Absalom, found in 2 Samuel chapter 13 through chapter 19, offers 6 significant lessons. 1. Consequences of sin. Absalom's rebellion and eventual death highlight the destructive consequences of sin. His actions, including the murder of his brother Amnon and his rebellion against his father King David, led to chaos and tragedy. 2. Family strife. The narrative underscores the impact of unresolved family conflicts. David's failure to address the wrongs within his family, particularly Amnon's violation of Tamar, fueled Absalom's anger and desire for revenge. 3. Pride and ambition. Absalom's story illustrates the dangers of pride and unchecked ambition. His desire for power and recognition led him to commit treason, resulting in his downfall. 4. Forgiveness and reconciliation. Despite Absalom's betrayal, David's grief over his son's death shows a profound capacity for forgiveness and love. reflecting the complexity of human emotions and relationships. 5. Leadership and responsibility. The story highlights the importance of wise and just leadership. David's failure to properly address issues within his family and kingdom had dire consequences, emphasizing the need for leaders to act with integrity and decisiveness. 6. Divine justice and sovereignty. The events remind readers of the belief in divine justice and sovereignty. Despite human actions, there is an overarching divine plan, and ultimately, justice is always served according to God's will. Absalom's story serves as a cautionary message about the consequences of sin, the importance of addressing family issues, and the complexities of leadership and forgiveness. Thanks for watching, and may God bless you. Please leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section, as well as please respect the opinions of others. To follow along and be notified for more biblical posts, please like and subscribe. Thank you.